I will say probably the biggest change or evolution, I will say, from when Portola started to where Portola is now has been our sourcing model. In the beginning, we sourced 100% from coffee importers that are based in the United States, which is a fine way to source. There's nothing wrong with that. But what it doesn't offer is two things: full flexibility in terms of the coffee or coffee that I choose, because the coffees that I'm exposed to through an importer are ones that they have decided to buy, which may or may not be coffees that I would have decided to buy had I were exposed to the same coffees that importer. So you're kind of limited in that sense. So by us sourcing coffee direct, by us traveling all over South America, Central America, Africa, and visiting producers and cupping on the farms, cupping at the cooperatives, I have access to hundreds and thousands of coffees all across the world, whereas I just don't have that same level of exposure here in the U.S. Secondly is something that we're currently doing is we're establishing long-term relationships with farmers. So if I identify a farmer that has something great, or maybe he doesn't have something great, but there is potential that I see and things that I can identify when I'm visiting this farm that could be improved, then I will commit myself to that farmer and work with them to improve quality. And it's not anything that'll happen overnight. Sometimes these things take 1, 2, 3 years before you start seeing any real change. And those are the kind of things that I'm able to do through our direct trade program by taking the time, spending the money to go travel directly to where this coffee is grown that I simply would not have as an average buyer sourcing through a U.S. importer. Yeah, so whenever I talk to people about traveling or my international travels to go source coffee, they're often, first thing that comes out of their mouths are, "Oh, you're so lucky. Oh, I would love to be able to do what you do." And it is wonderful. I mean, it's amazing to be able to do that. It's one of my most favorite things about especially coffee is to be able to travel and source direct. But what people don't realize is the majority of the places I go are generally not where tourists are choosing to spend their vacations. So I'm going to very impoverished countries. I'm going to places well off the beaten path that simply aren't luxurious. It's places that are often dangerous. You have to be really careful about where you go and who you are meeting within that country to show you around. In these countries, whether it's international terrorism or whether it's narcotics, there's generally every country I go to generally has an issue that plagues that country, and it's unfortunate because there's a lot of some of the most beautiful landscapes, some of those beautiful people you'll ever meet, but they have to, unfortunately, they have to deal with these problems that surround them, every day. And so yeah, like for instance, I've been to Peru, several times, but I've never been to Machu Picchu. So, fortunately, when I go to Africa, I've been on some safaris, based because the circumstances allow for it. But most of the time, when I'm going to coffee farms and visiting producers, it's not near the tourist areas. I don't really see all the really cool stuff that those countries are known for.